You're about to discover the poverty programming that's kept you stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck. Make sure you watch this entire video. You know what's really interesting? People will never behave consistently in a way that's inconsistent with their programming. I said that too fast. People will never behave consistently in a way that's inconsistent with their programming. In fact, your programming runs on your subconscious mind. So let's pretend for a minute that your mind is a supercomputer. Get it? Let's pretend. Okay, so let's pretend for a minute that your mind is a supercomputer. And you've got your subconscious mind and you've got your conscious mind. In a computer, you have to have an operating system. What is an operating system? An operating system is the main software of a computer that tells that computer what other software programs it can and cannot run. The problem with our supercomputer of our mind is most of us, we did not choose our operating system. The cultural hypnotic societal mechanism chose that for us. And the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism, which includes the schools we went to, the churches we've gone to, our parents, our neighbors, our siblings, our friends, our coworkers, our bosses, our employees, the media, the government, all of it has programmed us with what I call a failure operating system. And if you put a failure program in a computer with a failure operating system, it can run that program. But guess what? If you put success software in a computer that's programmed with a failure operating system, all you're going to get is an error message. By the way, that's why so many people, when they hear some truth about wealth, they have to resist it because their subconscious programming won't allow them to run that program. And so success and failure both operate are produced from the subconscious mind, or what I like to call the automatic mind. I like to call our subconscious our automatic mind and our conscious mind our manual mind. All of the results, like 90% of the results in your life, are produced by your automatic mind, which means you're not even aware of it. It's running below the surface. It's happening automatically, and you don't even see it. But here's what's interesting. Other people who are not programmed like you can see your programming. How many of y'all picking up what I'm putting down? And see, what happens is when we hear some truth that's unfamiliar to us, the first thing we do is we resist it because, well, that can't be true, because that doesn't go along with my paradigm. Because people will never behave consistently in a way that's inconsistent with their programming. But here's what's interesting. I don't know if y'all can remember back in the 80s, late 80s, when you'd have like the 8086 computer and the 8088s, and you had the floppy drives, and they came out with a new software system for the computer, came out with a new operating system. You had to uninstall the old operating system, which usually took a couple of hours, and then you had to keep putting these floppy disks in and taking one out, putting one in, taking one out, putting one in, and it took a long time to reprogram the operating system of that computer. Does anybody remember those days? Okay, good. A couple of us are old enough to remember those days. Okay, and so what happened is they'd make new software, but the new software wouldn't run on the old operating system, right? And so you had to pick a day where, okay, I'm gonna have to uninstall this operating system, and then I'm gonna have to set an alarm to wake up in the middle of the night and keep on putting these disks in so I can use my computer tomorrow. Well, the same way it took a long time back then to uninstall an operating system and reinstall a new one, it takes a long time for most people to uninstall their failure operating system and install a success operating system. That's why you have to stay plugged into information and content that is reprogramming you, because eventually, here's what's gonna happen. I promise you, you see somebody, how many of y'all notice that when you see somebody who's really, really good at something, they're really, really good, they make something so complex look effortless? Like, Michael Jordan was so much better than everybody else when he was in the NBA. When he played basketball, he made it look effortless. Tiger Woods made making birdies and eagles look like he was playing with a child's toy. Why? Because they had a totally different operating system going. But see, operating systems don't just affect us in sports, they affect us in every aspect of our lives. They affect us in our finances, they affect us in our businesses, and what happens is we resist because it's uncomfortable to uninstall that old programming. You know why it's uncomfortable? Because grandmama gave it to me. It's uncomfortable because mama gave it to me, because daddy gave it to me, because my uncle Sam gave it to me, and my Aunt Susie gave it to me, and so I don't want to take it out. My favorite teacher gave it to me, and my pastor gave it to me, and the deacon gave it to me, and we have all of this programming that's not serving us and not giving us the ability to serve anybody else. But guess what? Did you ever notice that people who are failing like miserably, they make that look effortless? No, I'm not trying to be funny. They're not saying, I'm just going to wake up and mess up my life today. It's just all the moves they do that day just mess up the whole day. Why? It's their programming. And now watch this. This poverty programming, like you have been programmed to be broke. The cultural, hypnotic, societal mechanism has programmed you to be sick, broke, misinformed, and fearful. And guess what? As long as you are running this program, you're going to be sick, broke, misinformed, and fearful. Either one of those things or all of those things. Why does the cultural, hypnotic, societal mechanism want us sick, broke, misinformed, and fearful? Because people who are sick, broke, misinformed, and fearful are easier to control than people who are healthy, wealthy, well-informed, and courageous. And so what we have to do is we have to recognize the program, but see, we have to recognize where it comes from. Do you understand every time the politicians lie to you and tell you they're going to end income inequality, how do you know they're lying? Because they can't end income inequality because income doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's the result of something. What's it the result of? It's a result of value that's created for somebody other than you. So until you eliminate value creation inequality, you can't eliminate income inequality. They're lying. The government wants you to think that businesses that are successful because the owners of those businesses are evil. But the reality is, the promoter of that message is the one that's evil. Now, there are some businesses that are evil. I'm not saying there are no businesses that are evil. There are some businesses where the owners have evil intention. But that's not generally the nature of business. The media, the movies. I'm not crazy about movies, but the movies that I hate the most, superhero movies. I can't stand them. They're so terrible. They have programmed so many people to be broke. Say, what do you mean? Like you never even thought about that before, right? See, they started programming you when you were a little kid. Anybody remember this guy named Superman, right? Superman. You remember who he was, right? He was an adopted poor little orphan from another planet. Who was his arch enemy? Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, what was he? Multimillionaire. Subconsciously. They don't have, see, do you understand that every time a story is being told, it's being told on two levels? There's the covert story. That's the part that talks to your head. It's only there to distract you. And the overt story, that's the part that talks to your heart. It's there to program you. Okay, what about Spider-Man? Oh, another poor little orphan, raised by his aunt and uncle. Oh, who's his archenemy? Oh, that's right, the Green Goblin. He wasn't a multimillionaire. He was a multi-billionaire. They're always associating wealth with evil. And I know what you're thinking. See, I already know what you're thinking because I'm a mind reader. You're thinking, but Batman was rich? How many of y'all were thinking that? See, I knew it. I knew you were thinking. I knew, see, you got to get up early in the morning. You're going to catch me on that one. You're right. Batman was rich, but he's the only superhero with no superpowers. Now, which one would you rather do? Have a cool car or just fly? Okay, I can't even go there yet. I can't go there yet, but I will. I'll touch on it since you brought it up. Okay, just be ready. Okay. So I know the other thing you're thinking. Yeah, but Iron Man's rich. Don't you? I'm reading your mind. I already told you. But watch this. Iron Man is a narcissistic jerk who takes advantage of everybody and walks on everybody. So if they make a superhero that's rich, they always give them an undesirable character trait. What about the Black Panther? See, here's what the enemy did with the Black Panther. Black people, we felt so disenfranchised that, unfortunately, far too many of us, just because something's black, we want to go with it. But see, here's the problem I had with the Black Panther. They were literally in the movie teaching ancestor worship. Ancestor worship? What am I worship my dead ancestors for? God's the one that made him. I think I'm going to worship him. Black Panther was cool. He was rich. He was cool. He was smart. He could fight. He did all that. But they had to throw that answer because the enemy is always trying to trip us up. And he'll use whatever method necessary, whatever method possible. See, I'm going to tell you something while I'm on this subject. Our primary identifying factor should not be our color, and it should not be our gender. It should not be our educational level. It should not be the amount of money that we have. It should not be an association that we're a part of. It should not be our fraternity. It should not be our neighborhood. It should not be our country club. Our primary identifying factor of our lives should be the fact that we are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. And if that's not first, you got the wrong thing in first place. I am not black first. By the way, Martin Luther King dreamed of a day when a man would no longer be judged by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. And now we want to be judged. We just want to judge things by the color of the skin. Do you understand every time you go along with something that's, as a black person, every time we go along with something that's black and whack, we're just doing what the oppressors of our ancestors, we're agreeing with the oppressors of our ancestors that the most important thing about us is the color of our skin. It's not. I personally like being a brother, you know what I'm saying? I like my brother swag, you know what I'm saying? I like it. But guess what? If I was white, I would enjoy that just as much. Because watch this. I am made exactly the way God desired me to be, and I'm not in competition with anybody. So I can celebrate you, and it don't take anything from me, and I can celebrate me, and it don't take anything from you. And if you think me celebrating me takes something from you, I'm not the one with the problem. And if I think that you celebrating you is taking something from me, I'm the one with the problem. James, the brother of the Lord, he wrote a book in the New Testament called James. His name was really Yaakov, which is Jacob, but King James, and they changed it to James, and it's not James, it's Yaakov. But anyway, James, the brother of Jesus, here's what he said. He didn't say James, the brother of the Lord. He didn't say James, the senior pastor at the church of Jerusalem. He didn't say Reverend James, the senior pastor of the church of Jerusalem. Here's what he said. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. That was his primary identifying factor. And if it's good enough for the half-brother of the Lord, who's a senior pastor at the church of Jerusalem, it's good enough for me for it to be my primary identifying factor. We have been programmed by the government, by the media. Do you realize that Hollywood started waging war on business in the 1970s? We didn't even see it. By the time the average American turns 18 years of age, they've seen 10,000 people murdered on television and movies by business people and entrepreneurs. They've seen more people murdered on television by entrepreneurs and business people than more than even career criminals. No wonder people don't want to go into business. All they want to do is save the planet. They've been programmed. Let me say this. You weren't born with any ideas. All of the beliefs you have, you got them from somewhere. So you might want to check the source before you start running 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction and end up off a cliff somewhere. So here's what we got to do. We got to understand that the results that my life is producing those results automatically. And so if I want to produce some different results, I have to reprogram my automatic mind. I have to be intentional, and I have to be aware. I have to be aware of the fact, like, where is this coming from? I know from Genesis chapter 1, there are 4 levels of value. The lowest level is implementation. Use your muscles. I'm not going to do it that way. Use your muscles over time. That's the resource you use to make money. This is why you're broke. What do I mean by that? Wealth is a spiritual result. Wow. Wealth is a spiritual result. Wealth is spiritual. It is not physical in its nature. It is spiritual in its nature. It's spiritual in its nature because money that you have can be in more than one place at a time. Only spiritual things can be in more than one place at a time. The thing that gives money its value, there's nothing backing the money. There's nothing backing this money I have in my pocket. The thing that makes it valuable is the message that it carries. A $100 bill is more valuable than a penny, even though the material the penny's made out of is worth more than the material the $100 bill is made out of. So if money were material, a penny would be worth more than a $100 bill. But a $100 bill is worth 10,000 times more. Why? Because on a penny it says 1 cent, which means 1% of $1. On a $100 bill it says $100, which means 100 times $1. So the message that it carries is the thing that makes it valuable. But watch this. The other reason it's valuable is because we believe it's valuable. So the 2 things that make money valuable are the message that it carries and the faith that it creates. Language is spiritual and faith is spiritual. Wealth is a spiritual outcome. But muscles are a physical resource. Time is a limited resource. We're multiplying a physical resource times a limited resource, and we're attempting to produce an unlimited spiritual result. No wonder you're broke. Second level, unification. Unification, second level of value. On that level, we use our management skills to make money. We're not broke. You might make anywhere from $40,000 to $250,000 a year. But if a company's paying you $250,000 a year, here's what they want you to know. They want you to know they own you. They don't care nothing about your child's recital, your grandfather on his deathbed, nothing, right? What's the next level? Above that dotted line is where wealth begins to create it. This is communication. This is the second highest level of value. The highest level of value is imagination. Most, like here, your income on the communication level is going to be somewhere between $100K a year if you sell cars, and it might be $100 million a year if you're an A-list actor or an A-list singer, or maybe you write songs, or maybe you write movies. $100 million a year. These are communication. Imagination, these are the people who come up with the best idea. Or the resource you use here is your mouth. You got to have a mouth, you got to learn how to use it. Pretty much everybody here qualifies for the first part, now you got to start working on the second part. And then your mind, the resource you use up here, for imagination, are your mind and your money to make money. When you do that, this will take your life to a whole nother level. But you've been programmed to stay down here or to work real hard and get a degree so you can move up here, and this you don't even value. Do you realize, and I'm gonna end with this, in business school, they don't even teach you how to sell. You go to school for 6 or 8 years to learn how to be a lawyer. They teach you how to practice all this law. They don't teach you how to get any clients to practice law for. You go to school for 8 to 20 years to learn how to be a doctor, and they teach you how to work on the human body. They don't teach you how to get any human bodies to work on. We've been programmed to be broke, and poverty programming is costing you a fortune. That's why I always say, if you're broke, if you make less than $50,000 a month, you can't afford to be watching television. You need to be using that time to read some books to learn a new skill. But don't you want to see them? I don't want to see them. I want to be them. I want somebody watching me live my life on TV. Okay, I'm done. So that's how people are programmed to be broke for the rest of their life. Don't let the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism program you to be broke, because your family deserves better than that. God bless you. Like, subscribe, share, all the rest of that YouTube-y stuff that y'all do. And I gotta go. Peace out, Cub Scouts.